Welcome to episode 146 of Nobody Special.
This week we talk about finding God in the riots at the Capitol.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special, two Nobodies talking about the somebody who matters. I'm Danny, the host and New Year, same stuff specialist of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, you're the host of Nobody Special. This is a podcast where two generations of people are looking to find God in pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously.
Hi Caleb.
Hello, we're back.
We are back.
From our sabbatical.
Was it?
Our 1 week sabbatical.
So we wanted to thank everyone because by the end of 2020, Caleb and I just had a lot going on. The calendars were slammed, a lot of stuff. And so we made the choice to take a week off and also didn't tell anybody. But that gave us a chance to kind of organize a few things, take care of some schedule things, and other stuff, but didn't just quit. We just took a week off.
Right. And it felt glorious. There's something about taking a break that just it helps, changes your perspective.
Absolutely.
I feel ready to get back on here and say a bunch of words into a microphone that hopefully people
that confirmed
get
2
something
people
out
will
of.
listen to. 3 confirmed 3 people listen to.
Yeah.
So we did take a week off and just didn't tell anyone or post anything. I actually didn't even put out a blog post that week also.
Risky.
Yeah.
But we did get an email from someone.
We did.
From our old friend, our old British. I'm sorry.
That's
that
not.
You had to hear that.
That's not British.
British. I don't know how to do a British accent. Our British friend.
No, that's
Mr. McFakey.
And that's not us making fun of him at all. That's actually how he signs his emails. That's just the only thing we know to call him.
Yeah. So you know how it is. And we like hearing from him. And here's what he had to say. Hey guys, it's your British friend here. Just wanted to say thanks for putting out a great podcast and being so consistent with your releases. Onwards and upwards in 2021.
Consistent. He said the word consistent.
The week we
decided to just not.
But, you know, that's just how it goes. And we appreciate your encouragement, Mr. McFakey.
Absolutely. But also, I mean, it's not as if also in that previous podcast we put out 2 weeks ago that I just spouted off a whole bunch of things incorrect about the a new show on Amazon Prime coming out about the Lord of the Rings.
This is true because we also heard from Samuel S.
Gosh darn it.
And he also says, pretty sure the new LOTR, Lord of the Rings show, is a prequel. Danny.
Listen, I'm better at other things.
Danny.
I'm better at other things. I thought it was a remake.
He had a firm belief in that too. But that's all right.
And like most people currently, I'm going to stick to it despite massive amounts of influence.
Oh my gosh. This guy.
Yeah, I honestly thought it was a remake, but it apparently might be a prequel.
Hey, that's The Hobbit.
I haven't Googled it because I'm afraid if I Google it, I'll just have to actually deal with the information. I'm going to trust our friend.
I'm curious what they're going to focus on.
Thanks for messaging us too. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, we appreciate y'all's messages,
right.
Samuel and Mr. McFakey. Literally, even if it's like something small like that, it always is
we
very
do appreciate
encouraging. It. Yeah, and you can talk to us anytime.
Right.
Know? Just email us how your day's going. Just kidding. That's weird. I mean, you can if you want, but you know. Don't let me die here, Danny.
No.
You just
I like where we're going with this new 2021 energy.
Oh gosh.
We're gonna take a week off more often. So can I be the first? Can I be the first to say towards the end of 2020, people they were saying some very hopeful things that like I'm going to be so glad after this time's over. It's going to be fantastic. And I'm going to be honest, I was excited for this episode. I had some fun things I wanted to talk about. I really did. I was going to talk about some fun goals, like personal goals for the year, for like spiritual goals, talk about the importance of having those and all these things. And I wanted to come on this podcast and have fun today. I did. I wanted to have fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like all the people like, oh, I'm going to be so glad when 2020 is better. Allow me to be the first person to say, 2021's going to be so much better.
Hey, we're off to a great start, right? There's nothing been going on. Everything's great. It's great, as Tony the Tiger says in the Frosted Flake commercials.
And much like his message, Tony the Tiger is fake.
Yeah.
So for those of you who haven't turned on the news, been on Facebook, I honestly think people are mailing hate mail at this point out. Pro-Trump protesters stormed the Capitol building as Congress people were trying to establish that Joe Biden did get the actual needed things to become the next president in 15 days. They breached the Capitol building. All Congress, they had to take a brief few-hour break. They were pushed into the basement by the Secret Service and all them. And one person died. I think she died after trying to breach another part. She was fired upon and killed. So Congress eventually did come back and kind of finish the thing they were trying to do. But by that point, a lot of the damage had been done. Right. And we are now all over the news as, it just, by the end of yesterday, I went to bed at about 8 o'clock, because I was the kind of tired that I got in quarantine from just being emotionally tired, and that was just the best word for it. I was just emotionally tired. Yeah. And I've been thinking about a lot of things I have to say about this, and it sucks. Yeah, it all sucks. It sucks it's just so hard.
It's crazy that like the freaking Capitol building is being rioted, and it's not okay. I don't care at this point. Right. Like we cannot say that this is okay. Right. Because it's not. And I think that this is something where, like, obviously it's very divisive. Right. And I think that, I don't know. It's crazy to think that there's someone that's okay with us just like breaking in to the Capitol building, making the Senate have to adjourn for the day. You know, like
House,
whatever it is.
Shoot,
House of Representatives.
House of Reps. Okay, yeah. No, this was the. So as this is going on, I had some real. I was all over the emotional spectrum on this at first. Like, there was a lot of struggling through my own flesh. Can I just be like honest? I'm still processing it a bit here. Yeah. So part of me was just kind of like, I was angry, I was very sad, I was upset, and just I was getting to that point of just like, good, whatever, I don't even care anymore of just all this, because we spent months burning Portland to the ground, and kind of decrying that, and then talking about like, this is bad. Chaz, it's Antifa and BLM, their riots that have gone on, the hundreds of people that have been killed, the millions and millions of dollars of damage, like all this kind of stuff. And there's been a pretty consistent kind of a message throughout. And then to have this happen is just, it's like, there was a part of me that did kind of think is like, well, why would the standards be different between the two? And that is a wrong and a selfish mindset that I did struggle through a bit, because as I thought it, I understood that is the flesh talking. These actions are despicable, And the Congress people that have come out and stated that, I am all on board and kind of behind them. They've condemned this pretty quick, and it's just to have spent months kind of decrying, Chaz as bad, and then to go, but this is okay because this is our elections being stolen.
Right.
Is just
not okay.
The height of hypocrisy to me. Like I can't, and it's not even that aspect of it. It's not a conservative thing to me. It's the fact that there were multiple Christian flags flying around. There were people claiming to wave the banner of Christ and think that they're doing this is the work of God. And I'm sorry, I can't get behind that at all.
Right.
I don't picture that as a thing Christ would do.
Yeah. No. And I think that's been another annoying thing, and it happens with every similar thing. It happens where people try and use Jesus as this political object.
Right.
And to make it seem like their side is okay. Oh, this is what Jesus would have done. That term is so annoying to me. And or just that saying, and I think that, like you said, we as Christ followers cannot side with either side of this.
Right.
And especially the people who broke in to the Capitol.
Right.
It's something that, and we talked about a lot on this podcast previously, that vengeance is for the Lord. Right. Justice is not ours to serve. It's not. We can pray for justice, but it comes down. We do not have the sovereign nature that God does. We do not have the power, the knowledge, the just majesty that He has. His all knowing. We don't have that. Right. And we cannot choose which side needs justice. That's not ours. That's God's. Right. And I think that we should be praying for that. Right. But ultimately,
but the prayer, and I've said this many times, the prayer that God would give justice is one of the most hypocritical prayers that a Christian is going to say. And I'm not even claiming it's a bad prayer, but you better understand that by praying for justice, there is a part of this that is asking God to punish that person, but not me. Right. Because if everyone gets true justice, we die where we stand, that Jesus doesn't die in our place.
And that's why it's so annoying that we try and take it into our own hands. Like justice is this thing that is way bigger than we could ever imagine on a spiritual level. Right. And the fact that we try and take the little micro versions of that, we think that the election was stolen from us, so we're gonna we'll show them, we're gonna break into the Capitol. Sure. That's
and I mean, I'll be fair. The problem of this is that there are actual questions that need to be answered that now we just don't get to ask those questions because it came to this. And I stated that as all the George Floyd things, as every other thing started blowing up, started killing each other. It's there are questions now that don't get asked because the people asking them pushed it to this other thing. And it's just stupid to do. Yeah. And I've been crazy consistent all throughout 2020 on this, that this stance isn't a thing that a person of faith can participate in and go, I am giving God the glory. I just don't get it. That I think, and I'm going to have some stronger words on an upcoming blog post because I'm blogging on worship and idolatry, and this is just a problem of idolatry. Yeah. The conclusions I've come to for 2 days of thinking now are, and a few other statements is Trump derangement syndrome is on both sides. You can't claim that they just have a Trump derangement syndrome. It's yeah, okay, but a lot of people just breezed over a whole bunch of horrible things he did and had no problem at all saying, like, he's God's chosen instrument. Like, he's King Cyrus. That is Trump derangement syndrome there, just on the other end. Also, stupid is a bipartisan issue. And these acts are stupid. Yeah. They're ignorant and hypocritical, and it's a bipartisan issue. The problem on either end trying to criticize this is that because now both ends have done it and both ends disagree on the other ends of doing it, that the moment that you try and criticize it actually makes you a hypocrite. If them doing it isn't okay, but it's okay on our end, then you're absolutely a hypocrite. And if you've gotten through all of this and thought about all the things the other part they need to do first, then I'm talking to you. Right. Straighten out your own house first. Take a massive plank out of your own eye before you go pointing out the speck in another person's.
And I think it's all crazy because none of it really surprises me. Like, I don't expect unbelievers to act like they're saved. Right. And I don't think that there's a lot of true Bible-believing Christians that were probably a part of that. I genuinely don't. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so rough about this is, like, seeing these people and seeing what we know what their need is. They need a savior ultimately. Right. They need to recognize that. And that's where all of this is rooted, is just in sin. Mm-hmm. Where we think that we're right and they're wrong. And that's where things get hairy. Right. And I think that really, like, as much as we want to, like, obviously criticize these people, like, I'm ultimately just not surprised. And that's what's so, I think, sad about it. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't make it any less sad, but it's not surprising at the same time. And that's why I hate when things like this happen. It's because it's just a huge reminder that people need Jesus. Right. And ultimately, like, we need to get to work in praying for these people. Like, we can pray that we want our nation to be healed, but really the only way that's going to happen is by the blood of Jesus and individual people recognizing him as their personal savior. Like, and that's really it. You know, we can say, like, I mean, God can do whatever he wants, but, like, that's what we need is Christ to infect the lives of just people. And
but maybe I think that, I mean, kind of the first part is because I'd say most Christians, especially American Christians, tend to be conservative. Now, and this is an idolatry problem on both ends, that the presidency has become an idol that can't actually bear under the pressure that's being held to it. One end thinks that the presidency is the extension of God himself, as in it's the power of God, that Trump is God's is the hand of God, and if there isn't a Christian in there, then it's an attack on the morals of this country. And that even could be quasi true even, but still they've created this idea that if their president isn't there, then their God stops being powerful. And all this is ancient Egyptian belief of that the king is the instrument, the embodiment of God. And this is just false. We have Jesus for that. Jesus is God made flesh. And so any other king, president, or anything else can't embody that. On the other end is this problem that the president can determine things that only God can provide, as in the ability to breathe, to have healthcare, like all the things that in an ultimate kind of a sense stem out of our Creator. They've attributed to the president's ability to control. They have created a God out of the presidency. They control whether or not they can have access to medicine, to health, to things that keep them alive. And this, again, is false. This is idolatry. This is just straight up. They think that person or contains the power to be God himself. Right. And in both cases, it's an abuse of power, it's idolatry, and it's disgusting. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to have fun this year.
I know. Me too, Danny. Me too. Yeah, it's just it's sad overall, and I think, like I said, we just need to love Jesus more and more.
Yeah.
Like, and the only way that we can do that is just, I don't know.
Personally, I think the first step is we have to stop attacking one another and viewing each other as the enemy.
Yep.
That's been a very big theme all throughout 2020 and apparently 2021, is that it's us against them. And that type of thinking is just very divisive in its expression. It is very divisive. So, but Scripture is clear that the battle we are in isn't a battle against people and people. There's a famous passage, Ephesians chapter 6, that talks about putting on the armor of God. But before it gets into it, in verse 12, it actually tells us pretty clear what our battle actually is.
Yeah.
It's in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12.
Yep. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. And yeah, I think that's spot on. That we often view this as it's just so easy. I think it's honestly because it's directly in front of us.
Right.
And we as people naturally do not think spiritually.
Right.
And it's so easy to view the person who may think differently, who may look different, to view them as your enemy. And I think that it's that verse is definitely a great reminder that that's not what it is at all. Absolutely.
Like the idea that the Democrats are the enemies, they're trying to steal all the things. Okay, so that isn't actually anything that the Bible actually claims to be true. It's not the person that disagrees to our face. This is the tool of chaos employed by the enemy to get us to attack each other and tear ourselves apart. If it becomes an us versus them type of a mentality, then there is a part of us that doesn't understand the full breadth of the gospel. And there's another part that is condemned to never actually hear it. And that's the problem of all this, is that if I treat them as an enemy, then they will never understand the love that God's given to me.
Right.
If I treat them in that manner, then I am no better than the pagan that goes and hates everybody else to begin with.
Yeah.
Like the way Jesus treated his enemies. If we actually stopped and thought about that, of the way Jesus treated the people that tried to kill him, as he's coming to as they're coming to put him in handcuffs to bring him before Pontius Pilate, and drag him off on bogus charges that he knew they were fake. Peter actually cuts the guy's ears off, or cuts his ear off, and Jesus, instead of going, is like, that's what you get because you're trying to steal our Savior, and instead he stares at Peter like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Have you understood nothing so far?
Right.
And he heals that man. He has compassion on a person that had been there to kill him.
Right.
So where's our Christian standard in this? Is like, if I'm trying to be close to how Christ does things, then I have to actually do things in a manner that is worthy of the calling I've been given.
Right. And I think it's so easy to do just because it's everything in our flesh is just easier to do. It's just true.
Right.
And it is easier to see that person as your enemy, to cut them off, never talk to them again.
Right.
Because it's hard. Like it just is. And I don't think any of us, me or you, are perfect at this at all.
No.
There's people in my life that genuinely get under my skin, and it's hard for me to be around them. But that doesn't that doesn't change the fact that Christ called us to treat our enemies as friends. And we see that through his time here on earth. He genuinely, like, you look at the way he treated those people, and you're like, wow, like, if you didn't know what was going on in the context of that story, like, you would genuinely think, oh, that's probably just like his buddy he's hanging out with. Right.
While we were still against God, Christ died for us. So if our standard is a person can be my actual enemy, I still have to love them, then I don't think being upset at a political outbreak is fair.
Yeah, and I think it all comes down to knowing that ultimately we do not have it in us to love others, to forgive people, to treat our enemies as friends. Like, we don't. And that's why it is important to be rooted in the Word, in community with believers, so that your relationship with Jesus is healthy and growing, and so that he is sustaining you to be able to do those things. I think it's easy for me to realize that it's getting harder and harder when I'm really not focusing on the Word and community. Yeah. And it's just, you need to make sure that you are set up for success, and success is being in right relationship with God. Right. And or else it's not possible. Right. It may be sustainable for a period of time, but eventually you're going to be drained.
We are only able to actually love others because Christ loved us first. Right. And that, that's a phenomenal point, that it's going to get difficult to do, but that's, like, of the people I know who are difficult to love and care about, I think I'm the worst. I think I'm the hardest to love. So, like, if there's hope for me, then I think there's hope for everybody else. And as much as they get under my skin, I need to still proclaim truth with grace. Right. And I see a whole bunch of, I'm not even sure it's truth at this point, but I see a whole bunch of stuff just getting thrown out there, and there's no grace in it. And this is, I said this before, I'll say it again, this is the easiest opportunity that a Christian has to actually display God's glory and his grace, because of, if I can speak bluntly, how low the bar actually is right now. And that's sad, but it's right. This is the easiest opportunity because everyone hates each other. This is the easiest time to actually just care about another person and to show them God's love.
Yeah. And I think this verse that you put in here in our show notes is really good, because that's exactly what you're saying. It's in Matthew. It's Matthew chapter 5, verse 14 through 16. This is right after Jesus talks about the Beatitudes and the Sermon on the Mount. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven.
All right, so some cultural things, because I feel as if this is an often quoted Bible passage, that the cultural understanding of what it is that he just stated, I think, is kind of missing a bit, because he isn't saying anything profound at all. He's saying, it's like, do you ever buy a light bulb? Yeah. Do you ever buy a light? I mean, because that's why they didn't have electricity back then. They had lamps, and so they put it in a place to give light to their homes. So right. So what he's kind of saying is the equivalent of, if you buy a light bulb, you should turn the light on. Yeah. And not don't turn the light on. Because why would you have the light bulb if you don't use it? Yeah. Like he's saying something so just like dramatically simple of, if you like, I have bulbs, and if I don't put them in the socket, then they're not actually displaying anything. And if I'm choosing to never display them, then why did I get the bulbs to begin with? In the same kind of a manner, if I am claiming to have faith in Jesus, but it's never actually public or known or extending the grace of Christ to people, then that's the same thing as having the light bulbs and just not turning them on.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. It's insane. And
once again, I think it's more comfortable for sure to just like keep that in.
Right.
It's easy to just like fuel that up and be like, oh, my quiet time with God today was so good. Mm-hmm. And then just go throughout your life and
flip
never
off the car in front of you when you're driving anywhere.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's great that like, I mean, I think it's important too that to give glory to your Father who is in heaven. I think that's an important part that people also misunderstand. Is it's also easy to show love and stuff and be like, look how great I am. No, I mean, but no one ever looks at a freaking lamp and is like, wow, this lamp is just it's just on. Right. There's no electricity going. It's just on. Right. Wow. So cool. But I mean, to give glory to the Father, to say that, you know, I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to show you love and grace if I hadn't gotten love and grace from my Heavenly Father.
Works are an expression of the connection to Christ. And that's the part. It's not that our works actually bring us any kind of salvation, but they are an indication that there is salvation present. Right. If I have come to Christ and nothing has changed, then I can actually kind of be fair to say, like, I may not have come to Christ. And as harsh as that sounds, if there isn't any indication that a person has been affected by the grace and glory of God, that nothing has changed at all, then it's probable that nothing actually changed. You know, there's a ton of false gospels out there. There's a ton of false teachings that have given people this feeling that I prayed a prayer that one time, so now I'm good. And because of that, they waltz through everything thinking they are Christian, when in actuality they have no understanding of the person of Jesus Christ. They don't connect to him. They don't understand anything in Scripture. They have no connection to the actual person who loves them, but actually just they do have a connection to this kind of amorphous, politic-based, judgment-based God that is actually killing us. Yeah. It's important to be connected to the actual source, and that only comes from realizing your need for a Savior, right? And realizing that that's Jesus, right? Like I think throughout all of this, we are absolutely 100% in a spiritual battle. And if the past 72 hours of everything haven't made that abundantly clear, then I don't know what to say anymore. We are in a spiritual battle, but this isn't a battle that's going to be won by passing legislation, by storming places, by conquering, by taking over, by any of that. It's going to be won by proclaiming the glory of God and proclaiming the gospel, the good news to those around us. Yeah. And exactly. We can't do that while trying to hit our neighbor. Yeah. When we express that, the image of Christ in another person's mind is very tainted. Yeah. That they've, good or bad, they've associated Christianity with this thing that is so far off of the thing that we claim it is. Yeah. And that's so problematic to our witness. Right. Yeah, I think, more than ever, being connected into it with a community of believers and reading the Bible and praying to God, I think that's so important right now, so that you are able to genuinely show the love of Christ to others. And I think that
like I would challenge, this is even a challenge for myself, and I'm sure just everyone, to take this on as a personal thing. Like, who are you praying for in your circles and groups of life to come to know Jesus? I think that's the way we win this battle, is it's easy to view this as like our nation is just unhealthy, we need help. But if we're praying for the people around us, and then they come to know Christ and they're praying for the people around them, I mean, that's just how it works, obviously. But like, I think that it's important in general, but specifically now, if you genuinely want healing for our nation, we need to be praying for others to come to Christ around us.
Absolutely.
And not only praying for just people in our nation, but also your people around you. And I think that is just a challenge that I need to have, and that is just obviously good to be praying for in general. Absolutely.
There's as you were kind of speaking, I was kind of thinking of Psalm 139:23 through 24, and this is a good prayer that all of us can bring to God. But like, man, if you pray this one, strap in, because you ask God to do these things, and be prepared to find things that you're not actually there that you want to find. So it says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there is any grievous way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. I mean, that's man. Yeah. I don't even want him to do the first two, like search me. But like, just part, not all, just search a little bit. If I'm actually being honest and trying to find those things that God needs to route out of me, then that's a prayer I need to be okay asking, is, hey, God, all right.
Yeah.
Search.
Right.
Tell me what's in there. And God has both a gentle and harsh a nature to him, of he will answer that question, but he's not going to abandon the person who asks.
Right. Yeah. And I think, it's just crazy to me how personal of a God we get to serve. And I think it's just crazy to me that like everything around us is like he's the creator of everything, the existence that we live in right now. And he wants to know us, and that we get to know him. Like that is insane to me. And not only, like you said, and it's not like he's just getting to know us, but he's getting to know us, and he's cutting off those pieces of flesh, and putting more and more of him in us. Like that's insane.
And see if there's any grievous way in me, and if there is, lead me in the way of everlasting. I mean, it's like, okay, 100%. That was the psalmist going like, if you see anything,
just let me know. Just holler.
I mean, that was the same thing Adam and Eve did. Who told you were naked? Or like, where are you guys? We're hiding. Why are you hiding? Huh? Yeah, it's chilly, Who told you were naked? Checkmate. You got us. Yeah. Dope. All right. Yeah, but that's the thing. If I go to God and ask, like, search me, know me, and see if there's any grievous way, and then when you find it, lead me towards you.
Right.
And I think that's our goal through all this. I mean, the time I got to preach, it was a good sermon. I enjoyed giving it. Yeah. But it was about crucifying the flesh, and that our flesh wants to take over because it treats the spirit as an allergy. That God and our flesh nature are incompatible, and the only way to defeat the flesh is to chase God at every single turn, and to crucify our flesh daily. So I and it's like, no one's trying to say this is easy.
Yeah.
But
right.
now more than ever, it's so important.
Yeah.
Because the flesh is running a rampant in our culture.
Yeah.
And it's time to have more Christians that are pursuing the Spirit.
Right. Stand up
and be the Christians pursuing the Spirit.
Yeah. That's good. I think that is genuinely what it's all about. I mean, I think that we need to be focusing on growing in Christ.
Right.
And that is, like we've talked about, in more ways than just one, but it's getting other people to know Christ, other people to know Christ, and getting to know Christ more ourselves.
Right.
And they can't happen without each other.
No. Nope. We need each other to lock arms and pursue God together.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm not proud of this analogy. It's a really nerdy analogy. I don't even think that you'll know it. But as far as evangelism goes, we need to Katamari Damacy this thing and just, as we go, bring others with us.
Right.
Do you know what Katamari Damacy is?
No.
Yep. 2 people who listen to this podcast do, and they just went, I hate that I know
Leave
what
it to
he means.
Danny to bring up some reference that nobody wants to hear.
It's a game where you start on... Right? Wow.
Gosh.
I just kind of ignored that, and then the weight hit me. It's a game where you start off, you're rolling this thing, and then it just picks up more things until you're picking up planets.
Oh, interesting.
When you make me explain it, the metaphor... it was a good metaphor.
Yeah, it was a good metaphor.
So, yeah, our challenge is just throughout 2021, be chase the Spirit and go with people. Yeah. Now more than ever, we absolutely need this.
Yeah.
So,
and I would once again challenge you to just find specific people in your life to pray for to come to know Christ. Whether you know him a ton or you don't know him that much at all. I think that is super, super important to pray by name for those people.
Absolutely.
And that's something like we as a church, or the church I go to, are doing right now. I mean, we always do that, but like we're putting an emphasis on right now too. So it's super just a needed thing.
Absolutely.
Because it's so easy to forget, it just is. That we need to be praying for other people to come to Christ.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Well, Caleb, it's 2021.
It is.
What are you the most excited about for this year?
I think I'm the most excited about for this year I feel like I have truly like settled in as an adult. I've been kind of just like, I mean, I don't ever feel truly settled. Let's be honest here. But I feel more settled this year, more than I ever have after graduating high school. So I'm just excited to be able to focus more on the things that are important, like the things that we talked about here, and just other relationships in life, and also just growing my relationship with God too. And other than that, I mean, I don't really, that's so basic, but it's just like, I don't have anything super specific.
Right.
I'm not the type of person that really like creates a New Year's resolution or whatever. But that's kind of mine.
Right.
What do you got? What do you got going on?
Now this is just going to feel like a flex.
No.
Because like,
I want to hear it.
I'm trying to read more. And I'm going through a biblical counseling program.
Ooh,
to become a biblical counselor.
You told me that.
Yeah. So that's fun. And I get to teach classes again, which I'm really excited about. And I get to teach other classes that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I don't look at my calendar's really, it's full.
Yeah.
And we're working on that too. We're working on, I've been talking to some people about what do I enjoy doing as a hobby, because for most people, my hobbies sound like work.
It's because they are.
They're not. It's like
they are.
They're
I'm
not.
Sorry, Danny.
They're not work. I like doing them.
Yeah, I know, but they're also very productive. You need at least one thing that's just like
right.
But you watch TV and stuff. You watch movies and play video games.
It's become harder to do.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, so I'm trying to read more books. I actually just, I'm not sponsored by them, but special thanks to christianbook.com for their after Christmas sale for getting me 10 books for $10.
What?
Yeah, man. Oh, and also I'm going to go through Greek and Hebrew again.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you told me that.
So I have I need to pick a day and just like start going through it.
And this guy.
These are the things that I'm super excited about that people are like, that sounds like work.
Guys, if you looked at Danny's schedule, I just hear about it. I'm scared to, like, if I looked at your calendar, I think I might be overcome by, like, just anxiety and just have a seizure on the ground.
Same, girl. Same. Yeah, no, so, like, I'll be teaching kids ministry Sunday morning. Blog comes out on Monday. Wednesday, I have a kids program that I'm teaching at. Thursday, we tape the podcast.
Yep.
On Saturday, I have a class I'm teaching. And so, yeah, just like 5 things a week.
Oh, man. Well,
it sounds really like sad when I'm so happy for all this too,
right?
You know, and at some point in there, I'm going to start doing counseling, biblical counseling. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, man.
I'll have my own personal biblical counselor.
I mean, you already do.
I already do. Yeah, this is true.
It's a certification thing for me. So
yeah, but yeah, we want to hear what you guys are doing, what your New Year's things are,
and what are you excited about? Not like the existential dread parts that accidentally tagged along with 2020. The exciting parts. My favorite, what are you excited about?
I saw a meme where it was like when you realize that 2020 is still in 2021 when you say it, and I was like, wow.
I saw someone wish everyone a happy December 37th. And I'm like, yeah, that's about right. That's about fair.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. All right.
Can we one final thing?
Yes.
At the Capitol.
Okay.
The dude who had like the hamburger and hot dog stand in the tent. I gotta say, I kind of respect it. Like
it's smart.
I gotta respect it. He's like, yeah. Are you a Democrat or a Republican? Capitalist. Like,
yeah.
Cool. All right. Game recognized game, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like only tent
Me
out
hungry.
there, only person serving food.
Yeah.
Like and I mean they're hungry, they're fueled up because they're about to go commit small cases of treason.
That's probably why they broke into the Capitol building. It's because they actually had fuel.
The energy. Yeah. We're blaming this guy now. Yeah. No, game recognized
He's the problem.
Game. Game recognized game. I gotta tell you. Good for you, man. Good for you.
He probably walked away with some good money right there.
He's like, I'm in the money, all kinds of money.
Gosh.
Just, I don't know. There's been a couple funny things that have come out of this, and people have asked, is it too early to joke? And I've been like, probably, but like, hey, it's better than crying, so we'll just go with it. You know?
That's true. That is true.
I'm excited for the day where we won't have to have articles on not the bee anymore.
Right.
Oh, it's not satire. That's the sad part. Anyway, yeah. So, but no, it's going to be an exciting year. I'm going to do everything I can to pursue the Spirit, to chase Him, and to find people I can trick to come to church and share the gospel with them. So,
right.
That's a terrible way to word that, but it's not wrong. So,
but yeah, we hope you guys really, jump into that vision as well, and also we don't like doing this often, but this podcast we don't really pay for stuff, for ads or anything like that. But if you,
because we're cheap.
Danny's cheap. All right, I've tried to get him.
Correct.
He's the one with money. All right, this is true. But yeah, like tell your friends, share it if you want, and we would really appreciate that. Also, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Nobody Special Podcast, and you can ask us questions or say hello by commenting or DMing us there. And we're also on YouTube. And also, I didn't even mention that the gospel@outpost.com/Nobody Special. There's a bunch of blogs and stuff there, and also you can find a form at gospel@outpost.com/Nobody Special where you can say hello or ask us questions as well. That's where Mr. McFakey typically reaches out to us. And yeah. End on a low note, you know?
Yeah. What? I can't even think of a joke fast enough. I can't even think of a joke fast enough. I don't know. I guess it's we've been working on adding UpDog to the website.
What's up, dog?
Got him.
Gosh, I can't with you. All right, we're ending on a real low note now. Thanks.
Well, that's gonna do it for us today.
Yep.
I'm Danny,
and I'm Caleb,
and we are Nobody Special.